We're living in an increasingly digital world, and that is one of the topics that we will discuss in this edition of Business 7. Welcome to the program. We're going to talk to Jerome Namaseb. He is the head of Transactional Banking at FNB Namibia, and it's all about digital banking. We also have another guest for you. It's the Managing Director of Liberty Life Namibia, Monique Cloete, and she will capture the state of the economy, how to go forward, and how consumers can survive in tough times, but also how terribly important it is to keep your insurance. Please stay tuned.
You know, a few weeks ago, I would never do this on a Saturday morning. Back then, I was standing in line all day. Now it's just like that.
You are using the FNB banking app like I told you.
Girl, it saved my weekend. Now I can do all my banking on this.
Payments, transfers, checking statements.
Even opening accounts.
Just like that.
Oh, did I tell you what my husband did?
Even me, I want to save time with the, what's the name of the app?
FNB app.
Don't be left behind. Make the switch to the FNB app, online banking or cell phone banking, and change the way you bank to change your life. FNB, how can we help you?
As promised, we're going to discuss digital banking, and in that regard, welcome to Jerome Namaseb. He is the head of Transactional Banking Retail at FNB Namibia. Thank you so much for joining us in the studio.
Thank you so much for having me, Jo-Marie. I really appreciate it.
Jerome, before we get to the product of DigiPlus, which FNB recently launched, a little bit more in general, what is the importance of digital banking?
You know, digital banking is of significant importance, and it's a key value proposition that we, try and encourage and push at FNB. I mean, it's the whole concept of, giving customers the ability to manage their financial affairs through self-service channels, anywhere, anytime, at a time of their convenience. Some of the other benefits of digital banking now start to speak to items like value for money. It's difficult times that we're living in, and digital banking provides an avenue whereby customers can bank for cheaper than they would through non-digital alternatives. So it's of primary importance, digital banking.
Jerome, the whole concept of digital banking, especially important in a country like Namibia, where we struggle with financial inclusion. 100%. Can you elaborate on that issue a little bit?
100%. Looking at the last national Namibian Financial Inclusion Survey done by the Namibian Statistics Agency in 2017, I believe, it indicated that about 22% of all Namibians above the age of 16 are financially excluded. And even more so in a country as vast as Namibia, 27% of all Namibians in the rural parts of Namibia are financially excluded. So financial inclusion is going to be a big driver and proponent of, the next generation and the next wave in Namibia. Something like digital banking and the provision of services, whereby in a country as vast as Namibia in terms of size, where it's not always feasible to set up physical points of presence. Digital banking does provide that solution whereby you can service customers in the absence of a traditional branch. And more so now, DigiPlus, this account product that we've now launched.
And the DigiPlus account product, it was recently launched. Tell us what it entails.
Okay. So DigiPlus is a first-in-class, product that we've launched on the 21st of July. And essentially, it provides customers with the ability to open up an account by themselves. So we refer to that as a self-originating account, anywhere, anytime, irrespective of the customer's location or proximity to a branch. So this definitely speaks to the whole concept of financial inclusion. In addition to that, the product is priced in such a manner that it is cheaper than traditional bank accounts, if I may say so, while still being in a position to offer customers a full range of services that allow them to manage, their financial affairs. I think, one highlight with respect to DigiPlus is also the fact that the product itself comes with a savings pocket. And this will ensure or allow customers the opportunity to, also save, which, is very important as we try and create a savings culture within the Namibian market.
For the young people are more open and less scared of digital banking than my generation, for instance. With DigiPlus, what all can you do?
Okay. So maybe if I could just start with how to originate the account. So, an FNB customer and a non-FNB customer alike can dial *140 *321#, select open a DigiPlus account, and then follow the easy prompts. Once the account is opened, customers would be able to do a whole host of transactions, which includes sending and receiving payments, sending of e-wallets, making prepaid purchases such as airtime and electricity, making transfers to and from their other accounts. For example, as I mentioned, the account will come with a linked savings pocket, so to help enable that, saving for a rainy day type of environment. So it has a whole host of, services. I think one of the key things to note with respect to DigiPlus is it is a cardless account. So it's 100% cardless, 100% no branch interactions. So we truly want to, or we truly aspire to enable, that digital culture, because that will really be one of the big answers towards enabling or ensuring financial inclusion across Namibia.
And I know one of the concerns consumers, especially my generation, has is security. It's totally secure offering.
100%. The account is totally secure. It is, I think the best way to proposition it is no less secure than any other product that you would have at a financial institution or at FNB. So customers are not exposed to any more risk than they would through a traditional bank account. The fears are understandable, especially considering the times that we live in and some of the stories that we do hear. But as long as, customers take the time, effort, and care to protect their personal information, for example, not providing OTPs, FNB will never ask you for your PIN telephonically, nor for an OTP, which, could potentially enable account takeover. Then there should be no concerns with making use of DigiPlus.
Jerome, a last question. FNB Namibia has been at the forefront of innovation when it comes to digital banking. Yeah. Why is it so important for FNB, and to date, what have been your milestones?
Yeah, so I think the first thing I think about is how can we help you, which is the key driver towards, all our aspirations around innovation. In addition to that, we strive to provide real help and real relevant solutions for our customers. Hence the importance of innovation, hence the importance of, developing these self-service channels. That's a key driver in ensuring that, our customers can get value for money whilst experiencing, a seamless banking environment at their own convenience. I think the DigiPlus account, in addition to all the other things that FNB has developed or been first to the market to, is a true indicator of FNB's, commitment to providing real, relevant solutions for customers. But at the same time, our commitment to, further broadening the scope and ensuring financial inclusion in the market.
Jerome, very insightful to have you in the studio. Thank you very much for your time, and we're certainly looking forward to what FNB Namibia has in store for us in the future.
Thank you, and thank you for having me, Jo Marie.
While Namibia and its cities are seen as one of the cleanest countries in Africa, plastic pollution is a big problem. Therefore, it's up to each of us to do what we can to reduce the use of plastic, especially single-use plastic bags. At Liberty Life Namibia, we've taken the decision to turn all our old branding items into reusable shopping bags. It's a way in which we can drive sustainability and look after our most important stakeholder, our environment. If you also believe in sustainability and would like more information, please get in touch. Liberty Life Namibia. In it with you.
She's a very, very busy woman. It's an honor to have her in our studio, the Managing Director of Liberty Life Namibia, Monique Cloete. Welcome, Monique. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Joe. It's always a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Monique, just a quick recap in terms of the general state of the economy. What is your take on it?
Joe, we've been through a hard time. We were in quite a precarious position before COVID. We continue to be in quite a precarious position. We see inflation rates going up. We're seeing interest rates obviously following that, which is to be expected. But with the consumer already under pressure, it does put additional pressures into the home. With people who are sitting without employment subsequent to COVID, with the fall in tourism and so forth, a lot of those individuals are sitting without employment. We're starting to see it pick up. Probably not at the levels that we need it to be just yet, but we are starting to see that influx, which is quite positive. So it's encouraging. But I think consumers very definitely still facing a lot of pressure. Increases in fuel prices. The war between Russia and the Ukraine has not helped anything. So I think we're still walking quite a tightrope at the moment.
That indeed is the case, and the thing is, with your inflation rising, etc., whatever is happening international, it has sort of a lagging effect. So even if we do see the now famous green shoots in the economy, it's going to take quite a bit of time before it flows through to the consumer.
Very definitely. These are not short-term effects. Shorter-term effects are where we see the interest rates coming down and putting money into the pockets. We see lower inflation, that puts money into the pocket. But these longer-term projects, they will only bring us rewards in a number of years. So I think we're still sitting in, have we seen the fuel prices coming down? No. Have we seen, we're seeing these increased prices. Will we ever see $15 a litre again? And we thought that was high a year ago, roughly. Will we ever see that again? I'm not sure.
Monique, as you said, it's been very, very tough times. Liberty Life Namibia, a major group, big player in the financial services sector. How did you weather the storm?
So Joe, for us, being in the long-term insurance, it's been very, very rough. We obviously saw the impact of COVID coming through. So what happens in anybody's budget, right? Once you either got to grow revenue or you got to save expenses so that you can grow bottom line. And that's for us as individuals, it's for corporates, it's for government. Everybody has to follow the same principles. Revenue less expenses equals profit. If you want to grow a business, you've got to have positive profits. So for us, it's been a case of obviously looking at for a life insurer, we obviously operate in the market where we are providing cover for people for those major life events, death, disability, retirement, and so forth. So those areas where we feel vulnerable, where we feel we've got this massive change happening in our lives. So that's essentially where we want to step in. We've also looked at what is the impact on the family during a period like COVID, where somebody doesn't have a funeral cover, a life cover, they're ill in hospital and they can't pay hospital bills. So what is the need of the end consumer? Just looking at where we've been. So we are trying to meet that need for the consumer as efficiently as possible. And obviously insurance costs money. So we've got to also think about what is the implication of that cost on the home. And does our pricing actually talk to what many Namibians face at the moment? And even so, there is still that need, because we want to be dignified when somebody passes away. We want to give them a dignified burial. That's important. We want to be able that if we do come to pass, that our families can be sustained. And that's really, so as much as we talk about revenue, that's essentially the need we're trying to meet. That grows revenue for the organization. The other thing we've looked at is obviously the expenses. How do we reduce? Printing has reduced massively, because in COVID we were taught we can do so many things differently. Telephone costs have reduced because we don't need to call people. We use Teams, Microsoft Teams and Zoom. We use all this technology. So we've managed to retain or sort of contain costs in that type of thing. And that's been sort of a key piece for us, because the revenue growth, when you've got a consumer that's so under pressure, is not really forthcoming. So you've got to make sure you look after the people you've got, and then how do you cut the costs to actually, but still deliver what you've got to deliver.
Thinking on your feet, indeed. We certainly had the same challenges in the media industry. You had to react quick and extremely effectively in. And Monique, you mentioned it earlier, that when times are tough and households need to reprioritize spending. Monique, you alluded to it earlier in our discussion. When tough times come and consumers need to reprioritize spending, they tend to cut ill-advised corners. And one of the things that they immediately think is, let me cancel my insurance in the short, maybe medium term. But that is an extremely irresponsible thing to do, isn't it?
That's true, Joe. So a lot of people think about insurance first, and they think about medical aid. And even, I mean, older individuals, as they get to retirement, they say, well, but I can't afford medical aid any longer. Yet the highest portion of claims that you're going to have is over the age of 60.
Exactly.
So, so medical aid and insurance, those are sort of the two areas where people generally feel, okay, I can put this away. And I understand it. If I can't afford to buy bread and milk, or whatever it is that I need for the home, then I understand. Let me rather park this. So it is something that does happen quite often. We find generally it's life insurance that is cancelled first before short-term insurance, because I'm still driving my vehicle. I could have a claim tomorrow on my vehicle, but do I think that I'm going to come to pass?
No.
Probably not.
No.
I'm young, I'm bulletproof.
Exactly.
The day it happens will be a shock for everybody. So I've seen it happen a few times where people go out and they'll cancel covers that they have on their homes. That, you know, to cover a mortgage that's on their home. And it's happened to somebody close to me. Subsequent to this individual's death, the family is now left. So the wife, who's never worked a day in her life, because her husband had looked after her in this example, she now says, but wait a minute, there's still payments due on this house. I'm going to lose my home because there's no insurance to cover the home. Eventually, they had to sort of make a plan as a family. Luckily, one of her children was in the home with her, and that child was working. So that individual could then cover the mortgage for a period of time until they had to sell the home eventually.
It's just sad, eh?
And what people don't realize is that is, for most people, I'm talking the general public, for most people, that's the biggest asset they have. It's a home or it's a compulsory retirement saving that they have had to do because they're employed at a particular employer. So those are the two sort of largest assets that people have, and they generally let go of something that underpins that asset, like the insurance on a home. It is devastating to have a family who has been in a home for many, many years, but there is, and it may not even be a big amount. It could be a $40,000 or $20,000 that is still outstanding on that mortgage. And if the family cannot pay it, the house will be sold to collect the outstanding debt to the financier. People have to take account of that. Even when you come to pass away and you have a vehicle, it may be the only vehicle in the home, transporting children to school, etc. Unless you have taken a specific life cover that will cover that vehicle, there is very seldom a cover on a vehicle loan. There is cover if the vehicle is stolen or if you're involved in an accident, but cover for your death is not often taken on vehicles. And that's what people don't realize, because somebody has to pay that vehicle. They've got to pay for the vehicle once you come to pass. If you have supported your spouse and your children are fairly young, and so they're not working and they're studying and so forth, the family may be left without even a vehicle to transport them. So you have to think about these things in your estate planning very carefully. That's something I'm quite passionate about.
I can hear that, yes.
You know, how are people thinking about what happens while I'm here? It's fine. What happens after I'm gone? Are my children going to be educated the way I would like to educate them while I'm alive? Have I made provision for those things? Those are some of the key conversations that we need to have with ourselves.
Would you indeed? It might be scary conversations, but we need to have those. Monique, coming back to Liberty Life Namibia specifically, what are your prospects? What can we expect in the future?
So, Joe, just to latch on to the previous question, what we have done for customers is we've allowed them to take a break for a period of time. So we've actually set up our life covers so that a customer can say to us, look, I've lost my job, I'm looking for something else, but I actually can't afford this right now. Can you reduce the cover for me? Can you put a hold on the cover for me? And that we will do for a fixed period of time. So at the moment, that's 6 months. And automatically after 6 months, your cover will come back into place. There'll be no waiting period, because the period is fixed that you've reduced the cover for. So there's no additional waiting period. Your cover comes back into effect and you can move along with your product. So we have done that for customers to sort of allow them a bit of flexibility. We have seen a few customers actually reducing cover in this period of time, and even on funeral cover. So we have funeral covers where you can be fairly flexible with it. You can ask for different things to be included. So we have had customers come back and say, look, at the moment, this one is not a priority for me. I'm going to take this one down, or I'm going to reduce this particular cover. So we have seen those. As an organization, we're quite excited about what lays ahead. We have generally been in Windhoek and at the coast. So we are looking a little bit broader. Please look out for us as we move into the rest of the country. So we realize we've got to get closer to customers. We had done that with our mobile office that we launched in November of 2020, and we found that to be quite successful. So we're following the office and essentially looking at other areas to open up and to be closer to customers and really impact people's lives. That's our purpose as a business, is we want to impact people's lives and make their financial freedom possible. And I think getting closer to the people we want to impact is a big part of that. So we're quite excited about where we're headed. In terms of Mind My Money, we're also looking at how do we sort of make that a lot broader and reach a lot more people. We found it to be very successful with corporates. Corporates who are concerned about their employees and their financial management, which impacts productivity at the end of the day. So, so we've had beautiful testimonies about people who have been struggling financially to manage their money, and once they had followed our principles, actually have money to spare at the end of the month. So I think that's quite exciting, is to do that a lot broader than what we have been.
Monique, thank you very, very much for fitting us into your very busy schedule. It's always nice to have you in the studio sharing financial wisdom. We wish Liberty the best with their efforts, and we are waiting in anticipation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Joe. It's always a pleasure to be here. Thanks so much.
Connection. It's in the human touch, the feeling of belonging. It inspires us and empowers us, creates clarity from complexity. It starts new conversations, unlocks the power of advice, and makes an impact on your life. At Alex Forbes, we pioneer insight to provide you with advice that connects your decisions of today to your impact tomorrow.
Earlier in the program, we spoke extensively about digital banking and digital finance. And to wrap things off, we are going to look at a video released by the International Monetary Fund on fintech. Thank you very much for joining us. Until next time, stay well.
Sometimes we don't realize we're living through a revolution. Take fintech. Just as email transformed letter writing, fintech is transforming how we do finance. When Jenny Githenji, an office worker in Nairobi, sends money home instantly to her mom in Kericho via her mobile phone, that's fintech. When Xu Mei, on holiday in Rome, gets a text from her Chinese credit card company asking her how to verify a transaction, that's fintech. When a smartwatch startup crowdfunds $20 million online from 85,000 small investors, that's fintech. Fintech is made possible by the combination of artificial intelligence, big data, network computing, and data security. It's mobile telephone-based network computing that allowed Jenny to help her mom. It's artificial intelligence and big data that warned May about her credit card. And it's all of the above that helped the smartwatch startup crowdfund and get off the ground. Who knows where fintech will take us? Hopefully, to a world with increased access to cheaper, faster, and more imaginative financial services. Advice on investing for retirement could come from robots. In fact, how and what we save could be automated to help keep us on track. Central banks may issue digital currencies, allowing for cheaper payments and potentially more efficient monetary policy. In our research here at the International Monetary Fund, we see that challenges will arise for regulators. How to regulate fintechs in a world where boundaries are blurring between institutions and services and countries? This means regulators will have to reimagine oversight, focusing more on specific activities rather than entities. how to facilitate easier cross-border payments and lending while protecting against money laundering and terrorism financing. This also means new rules to clarify the legal status and ownership of virtual assets. We are on the edge of a brave new world with all its promise, but also hazards to navigate. The IMF is well placed to leverage its universal membership and provide a global forum for cooperative solutions to help fintech work for all.
Every day, you make choices that make you legendary. Journey together with us on the path to securing your legacy as a member of the League of Legends. With the Select Platinum Bundle Fee Premium Bank offering, you will access tools that will enable you to thrive. If you earn 850,000 Namibian dollars per annum or more, you can apply for this offering today via bankvinted.com.na for only 447 Namibian dollars per month. Bank Vinted, a member of Capricorn Group.